Uh, Hello, welcome to the VL cast assessment. This is really cute that you guys all said you wanted to do this because Prod always says we're going to do one and then we always fucking forget. So thank you to viewers for holding us accountable. But we're going to do a cast assessment. We're just going to go tribe by tribe and talk about everybody that we know or don't know and give thoughts. General rules, I guess, be nice, be respectful, don't call people pieces of shit. I don't know. And don't talk over each other. I feel like that's it. So let's start with Cristobal, Brandon.
All right, so the first person we have up for Cristobal, let me get the tribe chat going. I believe the first person that alphabetically we do have for Cristobal is Carson.
Yes, I have the list pulled up, by the way.
Can you
So
send me the list?
Carson, let's talk about Carson. Take the floor.
About Carson. Yeah. I mean, I'll start off because Carson and I, at least like he and I are very close. I mean, I played Instinct with Carson. Haley has played with Carson. We were literally in an alliance together. I'd say Carson has like one of the best social plays I've ever seen in the org community. This is a guy who I think it's like, you know, like that saying, like always the bridesmaid but never the bride kind of thing. Because he kind of has like a track record of like almost making it to the end. He's just one round short of making it there because people seem to cut him, knowing that like if you sat next to Carson in the end, you lose kind of thing. And so there's always that kind of track record when it comes to Carson. But I'm also happy to see him playing a game again. I know he took a break from playing orgs, and so it's just exciting to just see him back. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if people are going to be gravitating towards Carson from the get go, just because he's very charismatic, he's very charming. Again, like top notch social game, also good at challenges too, by the way. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if people just want to like actually consider him as like their like as his like ride or die. We were ride or dies on Instinct, but he also had like a lot of like control in terms of like in terms of the game. I mean, he's social, but he's also strategic, and so he's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I picked him for the first suicide draft just because I didn't think there was any way he was going home. He's got a good vibe for me too. So I like your insight though, because I don't know him at all.
I pretty much agree with everything Chris said. Like he's grown a lot since like the Ascendance Live. Like I remember watching Ascendance Live, that's where I saw Carson for the first time, and then being able to play Instinct with him, just seeing like what kind of like the type of game player that he is. Like he's really, really good, like really well rounded. People always want to work with him. They're always driven to talk to him. He knows how to use that to his advantage to get really far in the game. And like he said, he gets clipped so close to the end. And it's like, no. But yeah, he's a really good player. And I'm excited to see him on the cast.
Who's this? Sorry,
Carson, first person on Cristobal.
Yeah, he's gonna go far.
I have some thoughts on Carson. I didn't know Carson before obviously interviewing him and casting him in Triumph this season. I love Carson. He gives me such GameBot vibes, but like social GameBot, and that's me. That's the kind of bitch I am in when I play. So I immediately drafted Carson. I'll admit that now. Carson was the first person I had locked in my draft, and I didn't know who else I was going to pick, but I knew I was going to pick Carson. Because I just have good strategic vibes from him. But yeah, if you guys said he has a big threat level, I hope he doesn't do that this time.
Yeah,
I also have thoughts on
No,
Carson as well, because I've known Carson actually for a bit. We've only played one game together, which was Trinity Survivor, which was like years back, and I was so cracked that game, you guys can even imagine. Brandon cracked, well, you know. But I loved getting to know Carson in that game, and I know the man's a very good game player. But like you guys said before, and that game was very specific, he got clipped right at the end. And I feel like sometimes for people, it's very much, I think Carson's biggest issue going into this game is going to be managing his own threat level. because the boy knows how to play the game. The boy knows the social game. He knows all the assets. But if he wants a chance to make it in the end, he needs to make sure that he isn't that big threat in the end game that a lot of people consistently have seen him as. I'm really excited to see him play though, and I will not lie, he's also my draft pick as well.
Yep, mine too.
Mine too.
Mine too.
All
Wow,
right.
popular in here.
Sam, do you have anything to say, or are we just gonna move on?
Bet.
Good talk.
Sam's in
Perfect.
bed. Sam said, I'm tired. I'm just fucking listening. Next up is Davey.
Yep.
Everyone jump in on Davey.
Oh, initial impressions, really smart. I could see Davey being like a swap boot actually, like someone clocks Davey.
Hmm.
Actually, or going really far. It's one of the two.
He also seems very social. I feel like I don't know anything about him, but as far as I know from like first impressions and like the video and everything, he knows what he's talking about. He knows how to present himself very well. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing about the video. I think good vibe from the video. I just don't know them or how they'll do in here.
I will say for myself, I didn't know of Davey before he was put on the cast, but seeing his interview, I was also very excited to see him play. I see him more so as someone who's a dark horse in the competition, more so than anything else. I definitely think he can do damage though. I'm not entirely familiar with how he plays, so I'm really kind of curious to see how this kind of mystery card in my head plays out.
I also don't know Davey, but rooting for Davey. Seems to just have an idea of the game. But I've never seen him play, so I don't know how he does like socially to get him far enough to make those moves. Sorry.
Next person I think we have is someone who I am very familiar with for being an idiot. And we joke about this all the time. This is our friendship. We have David.
Oh, I knew exactly who you were saying. Me and Brandon just played Distortion, Survivor with him. My thing with David is I'm hoping he doesn't do it this season. He likes to take control of situations and stuff. He is very strategic, very social, very out there. I hope he pushes back a little bit in this season. But yeah, we joke around with him all the time. He's gonna be very well liked, I can tell, but I just hope he doesn't make his threat level go huge and doesn't try to control everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you say that. Like, players who tend to have that kind of gameplay, you have to be very careful with that, especially if you are playing with people who know about like threat management and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure some of these people are going to be using the meat shield strategy or stuff like that, or like anything that would just make them target somebody, or like as long as it's not them kind of thing. So if David if David is like having that kind of like, if that's like one of the concerns of like David's gameplay, I would be very worried if he's gonna try to replicate that same thing here. Knowing like this cast has played several orgs as well, and they know that if you're pretty much at the forefront of things, you could be the one going home kind of thing. So it's I'd be very careful if replicating that kind of gameplay.
Would he have something like a reputation for being too loud? Is that where you guys are coming from, or?
I feel like he makes himself like a target.
Okay.
There's multiple times where he made himself like a target and like wanted to, be the leader, I think. I think that's what he likes to present himself as, is like a leader and wanting to get the people out that he wants to get out. But I just hope that he tones it down a little bit.
If I can give my insight on this, because obviously I've known David before the casting process and all that stuff. I think so. If we're talking strictly socially, taking out all the strategic parts of it, David can be a very good social player. I think that's his strength in terms of how he plays. I remember a conversation we had in Distortion where he wanted to prove himself to be a strategic player, and that's all good. And I think everyone could have a little bit strategic in them. However, the way David took it was basically just snorting crack. Is like the proverbial sense I had that he was just, and I thought I was crackhead. That man was crackheaded a couple rounds. Like, no. So I guess my thing is, I'm very curious to see how David kind of progresses in the game, because there is a chance that he want to put himself more out front. And then with his situation, he might read the room wrong, and then everything comes crashing down as they did in Distortion. I'm worried to see how that happens, but I feel as though if he kind of recognizes the mistakes he had in Distortion and switch gears to the social game that we all know he's good at, he can go pretty far in this game. It's basically a ticking time bomb, and no one knows when that time bomb's gonna explode, but I love it. Megan, do you have anything? Or Estefan?
I guess I'm pretty sure that the people in this tribe will still allow him to man things out until he's not needed anymore. So maybe it's just about timing for David to do much and then try to Lilo after that. I hope he will just like what Haley said, he needs to manage when to be upfront and when to keep his silence. So because I can see as an insider here right now, it's like he's really good as a social player.
I don't know David. I didn't know him before the season, so I'm going in blank slate. I'm excited to hear that a lot of people seem to think he's messy. Because I love Messi. As a viewer, not as a player. I hate playing with Messi, but I'm not playing with him, so.
And I will say, this is something I very much did warn Prod about. But I love it. Anyways, next up we have, I believe, the first female we're talking about on this cast, Gabby Franklin.
Yeah, I like Gabby because she's from North Carolina. That's where I'm from.
I will
also,
say, oh, go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say we have a lot of things in common. My family on my dad's side is from Michigan, Detroit area, so like it's kind of neat that we have that in common. Like that I have a connection to a player in the game like that, and also sports in common, all that stuff. So I think if she can integrate well, get a group going, like she's gonna be really good. Like I liked her video a lot, like her intro video. So I get a good feeling about Gabby.
Right. I actually did put her on my drafts just because something was like telling me like, oh, maybe she could be like a really good middle ground player. I just got a vibe that I really liked her from her intro video. So I was like, you know what? I love putting new people that I don't know in my draft as well, like mix with people I do know, mix someone I don't know. And so I could see her being a really good social player. She seems super chill, super likable just from the video. So I'm excited to watch her play the game.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Haley. I think you made a great choice in picking Gabby, or as I call her, Gabpocalypse. She's played Subversion before. I think made it to like Final Four at that game. Big Brother Hometown. She also played that game. All Out. She also played that. Um, Social player, definitely very charismatic. Agreed with all the things that have been said thus far. I think like her social game is really what's gonna carry her with this one, but also at the same time, like as far as I know, she was also good at challenges as well. So it really is just a matter of like trying to kind of like integrate herself into the tribe, making her an asset to people. And yeah, I mean, I have nothing but nice things to say about Gabby, and yeah, I'm excited to see how she plays here.
Yeah, I will say Gabby is also one of my draft picks as well. I think it's someone who I saw watching back all the interviews, and I got almost instantly excited by Gabby. If Gabby's able to sink her teeth into the tribe, I don't think she's going to be in any danger whatsoever of going home. I think what's going to be important for her is establishing those connections during the first couple days. If she does that, I think she's set for the long game, honestly.
Yeah, I don't see Gabby being seen as a threat, like at all, really, which I think is gonna really allow her to really like easily slip by and like get far, and no one's gonna like be seeing Gabby like have be really strategic. So I could definitely see that happening.
Hi, Gabby. I played with Gabby. I think I played in one of her first games ever in Double Cross back in 2020. Gabby and I were really strong allies, and she's infamous for questioning whether people who speak Spanish have longer minutes than people who speak English, because someone on our tribe fell asleep during the when you have to blindfold and count how many minutes challenge. And he fell asleep, so he was laying there forever. And she goes, "Are Spanish minutes longer than English minutes?" So I love Gabby. She is an amazing player socially. She avoids threat level. I'm concerned about her activity level. I don't know if Brandon said anything, but essentially she was one of the maybe 2 or 3 players of the 20 preseason who barely said anything in their confessional, and was pretty late to get things in. I don't know if it's because she's like new to Discord or something. I don't know. So I'm a little worried about how she's gonna do with activity level. But if she gets in it, I think she'll be fine. I think she has like one person she knows on her tribe, maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't think it's like her first rodeo at Discord orgs, because like her last 2 orgs that I know that she played were on Discord. So I think it's just a matter of, yeah, I mean, you're kind of right with like the whole activity level thing. I think that was like kind of like one of the concerns that were brought up when I was like doing one of her games. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how this turns out.
Yeah. Next up, we have Keisha Jones, who I already love. Like, I have fallen in love with this woman so fast. You are muted, Megan.
Oh fuck, I was just saying I am also obsessed with Keisha. Keisha's great. I mean, Keisha's one of the oldest members of the game. But she has such a fun personality. Her interview, I did it with her. She's so interesting and nice, but like not over the top, where I'm like people are gonna love her. Like they're just gonna feel comfortable with her. And she apparently seems to fucking know everyone, because she hasn't played many games in her interview and said she didn't play many orgs, but she just knows people from knowing people. So that'll help, I think. She was giving live thoughts on the cast reveal on every person. It was adorable.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it's funny because like I know of Keisha. I've never played with Keisha, but that already speaks a lot to, like, again, to your point, Megan. I totally agree. It's because like she's been around several servers, several orgs. I know her from like one of the servers. We literally do the music league together there. Also, fun fact, Keisha has played with one of the cast members here before, so it'll be interesting to see the dynamic there. If they're probably going to be working together here, or if it's going to be the opposite, where it's like, hey, like we've played before, I need to target you, kind of thing. So yeah, that will be interesting. And yeah, I mean, Keisha just gives off like that whole like very motherly vibe too. I can see a lot of people like gravitating towards her and like wanting to work with her. And in this game, it's like it's a numbers game. You need allies, you need connections, you need people you can trust with. You can trust. So I think that will be very easy for her from the get go to just like gain those social connections, just because like people are gonna want to work with her from the get go.
The most thing that I'm excited to see Kisha is she's already lovable. Everyone loves her. But the thing is she gonna use all those information to help her and spread everything against, other people, or is she just gonna keep it on herself? Because like seeing her project, she knew almost everyone in the game. I don't know if people knew her too, but she almost knew everyone here. So that's a good point, I guess. That's a pro for her, but might be also a con for her if people knew that she knew a lot.
Yeah,
I was gonna say.
Oh no, go ahead. You
Oh,
first.
Sorry. So I was just gonna say, like, basically, I feel like if she knows a lot of the people in the cast, like he said, it could be a good thing, but also just for like a few couple rounds. But also, I feel like it could be like maybe not the best thing because if people start figuring that out, like it could maybe put a target on her back. But she does seem like the mother of like the tribe. I feel like that's what will happen with her. Chris basically took it out of my mouth. Um, but yeah, I agree with everything that was said about her.
Yeah, I think even if you do know the majority of the cast, I think for somebody, from what it sounds like, the way you guys are talking about her, like it doesn't seem like she might have a better and easier time maybe if she is so lovable, because I played a game where I knew 80% of the cast before and I made it all the way to the end. So I mean it is possible to do that by knowing a lot of people. So maybe she's one of those that could replicate that.
She was giving queen shit, but like the only and things I was like, yes, like she love her like already. As someone who's like kind of new to the community, like I haven't played too many orgs, like, but just off the bat, seeing like the little tribe chats and everything, looking at them, I could definitely see her, I guess, sort of like being like, hey guys, like let's do the puzzle and like kind of taking on that mom role, really, like you said, Chris, again, like the whole mom thing, which like I guess is good, but like just in general, like Survivor shows, right? Like and tribe dynamics, like on the real show and tribe dynamics, like we've seen that kind of end up going badly. The whole mother role, um, and just being like looked at as like the whole like kind of the one like kind of being kind of serious about like challenges and stuff. And so I hope she's able to kind of get through that because I could see that kind of happening like with how she was talking with people just in the general chat. So I'm hoping she's somehow able to bypass that whole like people being like, oh my gosh, this is a leader, this is someone who's like kind of in charge. This is like people could see Keisha as a shield, but then people could also see Keisha as like, okay, let's get her out now, like even before a swap, you know. So
I think what's interesting about Keisha, especially because this is my first time really interacting with her in any sphere or place, is that she comes off as so lovable immediately. You just are almost drawn to her. You want to work with her. You want to get to know her. And especially in like a night one call or anything like that, those connections are almost instant to the point where I'd be surprised if Keisha doesn't make it pretty far in this game, regardless. I'm very curious to see how she does strategically because I feel like socially she's very adept at this game, but I'm curious of how that kind of translates over strategically. Is she more of a loyal person? Is she keen to kind of use those skills that she has socially to get people to trust her and use them against them? I'm very curious to see how she deals with that side of the game and what route she takes. I guess that's the only question mark I have with Keisha. But other than that, icon, mother, love her. Unless Megan and Estefan have anything to say, I'm opening the floor. I will take that as a no. Next up, we have, I believe it's Marco. Yeah, it's Marco.
Sam left. He could have said something about Marco. Marco's
Oh, yeah.
his favorite.
For you guys to know, Marco was a recruit from Sam to get him to apply because they played a live game together, I believe. So that's how Sam knows Marco, and Marco was brought to our attention from there.
I'm gonna be honest about Marco because I also most of this cast I didn't know prior to like the casting process, which I love. But Marco is also someone I didn't know. And as like prod, I wasn't a huge fan of Marco in the casting process, right? He wasn't like one of my tops. And I just don't know about him still. I feel like things have been a little weird since the game started. He said like some weird things, or I don't even know. I wasn't able to keep up with a lot of stuff, but like I remember host chat was keeping us updated and he was saying some weird things or doing something weird. So I just don't know. I feel like Marco's gonna get pre-merge. But Sam has a lot of confidence in him, and if Sam was here, he'd be like shooting me because Sam loves him. But I just don't see it from Marco, and plus the time zones, I don't see him getting very far.
I think it's also very interesting because in terms of time zones, I know a lot of times, especially like you see a lot of people that are just EST and then there's one person, but there's people from multiple different time zones on each of the tribes. So there's still that connection that Marco can use. My concern with Marco is that I know he's strategically adept. It's socially, it's which I'm worried about because I know he could be very social and he definitely did seem social on the night one call, especially kind of helping out with the first challenge and everything else. But at the same time, it's very much a game of how people vibe with you. And I'm very curious to see how people vibe with Marco because I feel like the style and the way that he talks isn't something that is generally going to gel with, like naturally going to gel with a lot of people.
Right. I don't know him at all. Just from like the impressions and the vibes that I get, I feel like he could be someone that might play too hard too fast. I hope that isn't the case because I want to see people do well. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I definitely think I don't know. He might, it depends on how people vibe with him, like you said, or if he rubs people the wrong way. He seems very talkative though, just from his intro video. Um, but I hope he does well, and I'm interested to see what happens with him.
Yeah, Marco has this character of having like the angst that might rob people off, but there is like a feeling too that I might get, I mean, robbed off by Marco, but I could still excuse him because there are some character on him that might excusable. You know what I mean? Because like now, as I can see that there are people who still giving him a chance. Right after he said something off a while ago. So I hope like there is a filter a bit on Marco because like this his first like ORG game? Because if it is, then that's the reason why he has
I can say this is definitely not his first org game. I know he's been doing this for a bit as well. But sometimes with org players, especially because I know that sometimes I had to grow up out because my own shit. Sometimes people just take longer to, kind of get into the groove of how specifically to play these games socially and whatnot. And that's okay. I'm just really curious to see how Marco does with this.
Yeah, he's really up there now with when it comes to how he said things. But let's see. It will be fun because like Marco is the opposite of how good people are right now. So he's like giving the villainous, aura, and we love that, I guess.
I don't know. So after watching Marco's intro video, I was like, but I can see Marco seemed active in the challenge. I was like, okay, so let me put it this way. Marco would be a good suicide pick. I think he might be my suicide pick. And um I don't know. I don't think Marcos would get out like now, because he seemed active in the challenge, but also I could see someone like Marco being in an alliance and then someone being like, oh, Marco isn't liked much. I want to bring Marco far. But so I could kind of see Marco getting far in that sense. But if Marco tries to do some like really strategic stuff, that whole like filter thing might come into play. Like that might be I could see that being Marco's downfall. Or someone just takes Marco out, being like, I don't like Marco, I'll vote on Marco early. So um I kind of see it going like one of the like those couple ways.
I also like to note before we move on, I don't think Marco has worn a shirt yet this game. Next up is Matthew.
So I put Matthew on my draft. I got really good vibes from him. I think he's really chill. Seems like he's gonna be entertaining. Seems very smart. I feel like people might be drawn to like give him information or want to work with him. So I could see him being a really good, valuable player during the season. So I did put him on my draft, like I said, and I hope he, stays in the game for a while.
Matthew is on my draft too, and I feel like I am getting a feel of a David in our season with Matthew. Like people wanted to be on his team every time, but then he could definitely be a cutthroat too. That's my fear. I mean, I mean, highly, I mean, that is really like a confirmation or a validation that people would love to be with Matthew. I would love to be with Matthew. Haley would love to be with Matthew in the team, but that is an advantage for him. So like Matthew might be very good and might, be go long on this game.
Were you referring to Dave 2.0? Just okay. No, yeah, I got the same vibe as you, Esteban. I can't remember if I put him on my draft or not. I honestly remember Carson as being on my draft, and that's it. Like 2 seconds after I finished picking. But yeah, I get the same feeling as you, Esteban, so I agree with what you said.
Speaking of Carson, I would love to see like a Carson and Matthew type of relationship. Maybe possibly even like a duo or something. I don't know. Just throwing that out there.
I'll
be
give that
honest,
to
like-
Matthew. Matthew had a great interview. Matthew is definitely going to be one of the more toned down personalities of this game. So definitely can fly under the radar, can be forgotten about. So it'll just be up to him to get integrated well enough that people forget about him to vote out, but that they also just don't forget about him and not work with him at all, right? But just kind of like, I could see him going to a point where they just don't think of him as a threat, so he just keeps going on. And yeah, he's adorable.
I will say I have the same like thoughts as Megan. I feel like Matthew is someone who could definitely go under the radar. I think my concern is if it's a matter of does he stay under the radar to the point where his game kind of just becomes shrouded in that like lesser threat level, because there's some times where you play under the radar that sometimes that haunts you at the end. And I feel like out of everyone, Matthew might be the most vulnerable to kind of fall into that curse, especially because we have a lot of players this season who are, some of them are very like out there as well. So I'm very curious to see how Matthew kind of distinguishes himself in this cast, and can he like pop up where he needs to and get work done. Next up, we have Megan. Not Megan Humphreys.
Yeah, not me. I'm not fucking playing. This is the first time we've had a Megan or a Meg in this game. I don't know how to feel about it. I know Megan from the Discord community. She is really sweet, a little shy. So I'm worried about Megan a little bit socially. But like she'll never like really piss people off, So like I don't think she's a player that would have to worry about bitter juries or like awful jury management. It's just, yeah, I don't know if she'll be able to get in fully with how social she is, but I think she's already been on a good bit tonight and staying up late for this. So that's already really impressive because she's in the UK.
That's great to hear, because I just played just now, like just finished a game with her. She did get out pre-jury, but she definitely was someone where people after her elimination, like people were kind of upset. Like she had people like in her corner wanting for her to stick around and stuff like that. And I enjoyed my conversation with her. I think she's somebody that people can really love and enjoy, but that is something that I'm very concerned with, is maybe, the activity because of the different time zones, or, people maybe just don't know if they want to keep her around too long. But I would love to see her do really well in this game.
Haley, was that on Skype or Discord? Just
It was on Discord. It was for the president.
Okay, because I don't know if she's played like Skype games. I know she's been like played. I did hear about the president. Because like I know her from like the Discord side community where like they were never on Skype before, So I definitely think that Discord is her thing. So I'm kind of like, I mean, maybe she's not used to the video calls aspect of stuff as much.
Yeah, she also did iSurvivor, if you know what that is, a while back. But yeah.
Cool. Any other thoughts on Megan?
I liked her video. I watched her video. It was cute. I got good vibes from her in general. I don't know. There are a lot of loud personalities, so I don't know how she'll fit into that. But other than that, I think she's pretty cool.
I was about to say, I think in terms of tribes, especially, it's sometimes good to have the quiet people. If you don't, you have Kenka. But otherwise, it's That's a reference to my season because my entire tribe was a fucking mess. But it's very much a case of sometimes you do need quiet people in those tribes, and Megan's definitely one of them. I feel like she is someone who I genuinely can see going far because she is someone who's genuinely sweet, and I think she can use that sweetness to her advantage here as well. Unless Esteban, did you say anything or are you good? You're good. Perfect. Next up we have Morgan.
Love her.
Mother.
She's so cute. Love her hair.
I don't know her, but
I don't know her
from her
either.
video, she looks like she's having a good ass time.
I think she's back from her cruise now. Like that was like she was really happy about the timing of the game because her cruise was right before it. So it was really just like a pain of getting her photos and stuff in because she was not with Wi-Fi. But I think she's home now.
Yeah, I think she was on a cruise or something like that.
Yeah. So I don't know Morgan either. Again, I don't think I know anyone on this fucking cast. But I love her vibes. I love her energy. I can't tell what kind of game she's gonna play yet, honestly, even though I've seen her interview. Like I truly can't tell if she's gonna be a big personality out there, if she's gonna be like more
Reserved.
present in one-on-ones than in like tribe stuff. I could see it going either way for her. So I'm just excited to see what Morgan does because I think she's adorable.
I definitely see Megan being a big personality for sure.
Yeah,
Is
she's
that
a
right,
queen. I
Morgan.
can tell.
Morgan. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I could see Morgan. After watching the intro video, I was like, oh, like Morgan's definitely like chaotic good kind of thing. Like doing like a lot, but in like that's someone who's playing the game kind of sense.
Of course. And I will say, like, I genuinely do like Morgan from watching her interview and everything else. I think it's a nature of I need to see how she connects with everyone on her tribe. Again, I'm a little worried. Maybe it's just because of the cruise thing and it just took a bit sometimes for people to get their information in as well. So I'm curious to see if she does pick that up because obviously if you don't, people are just gonna use that as a reason to vote you out. And I'm very concerned about that. Unless anyone has anything else to say, I'm opening the floor. All right, next person and the final member of the Cristobal tribe we're talking about, someone who I'm personally very excited to talk about, as this is my third draft pick, is Ray. I am so excited for this woman to play. You have no idea. Even from like watching her pre-interview chat, and the second she got into her interview chat, she made a section for all the sheets she was going to make in the game. I just know she's here to play. She is here to fucking play. And I love her.
Very excited for Ray. I also don't know Ray, but I think a lot of people do know Ray in the community. Yeah, I mean, they've been giving nothing but good vibes from the get-go. I had Ray on my draft and then I switched them out because I felt bad for people who weren't getting drafted as much and Ray was getting a lot of drafts. And I think that says something because I feel like she's gonna play really well. And she's funny. Her intro shot or action shot, if you guys saw the intro video yet, is like one of my top 3 favorites of all the action shots. So she's funny and I love that.
Yeah, I saw her play. I was in the VO for I Survivor. That was like a few months ago. Saw her play that game. I love Ray. She's super funny. I think people will love talking to her on the phone. And I'm definitely curious to see how she plays. She didn't, necessarily last that long in that game, but I definitely think that she could do a really good run in this game for sure.
I think with this cast specifically, I see Ray having a very strong chance of going into the end game, especially because I know she knows what to do in order to make those connections in the first place. She was honestly one of the most she was up there like the people who were very excited because some people are so excited and then some people are like very excited. She was like very excited for
Not
this.
the most, but we'll get to that person soon.
Yeah, no, there was one person who was very much the most.
And I feel like anyone can guess that person, but Ray is definitely one of the most excited and updating their confessional and all of that. I agree.
Of course. moving on, we now are going to the Cruise Tribe. First up, because we're going in alphabetical order, is someone who I was very surprised to see their application go, and I think we are all blessed for that, is Adam.
I'd love to start for Adam because I did his interview, and I just want to be real with y'all. Like, Adam hasn't played in Oregon like 3 years, so I don't think any of Prod knows him, and I don't think many people know him at all. But he came into his interview chat, and like before even doing his interview, he had like 10 questions, detailed questions for production. And we didn't know what to make of it at first. We were like taken aback. We were like, this is like a little weird. And then I got on the interview with him. He only plays in org once every couple years, and especially now because he had cancer since COVID. So this is his first org back from surviving that. He talks about it in his intro video, so that's why I'm sharing. But basically he asked so many questions because he's like says that he holds high standards for the games he plays because he barely plays. And so the fact that he took this invite and is playing Triumph is a huge compliment to us. He was very much like, I would love there to be an even cast gender wise, people of color versus white people wise. Like, he was very much just like, how do you guys run this game? Because I think he cares a lot if he doesn't play a game unless it's once every couple years. Now Adam is a talker. He's a game bot. His interview was an hour long, easily the longest interview of all of them. And he's a huge game bot. Like, all his answers were just like how I am. I could see him playing a very strong strategic game, but I don't know if his personality is going to jive with every single person. Like, I loved him on the interview, but that's because like that's just the kind of person I am when talking about game stuff. But some other people who are like purely social, I'm here for friends, might struggle if he only talks about game stuff with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I will say though, also, I feel like him being on the Cruise Tribe with the way the Cruise Tribe is honestly going to benefit him, because I think there's some people who very much are kind of keen to that strategic talk as well. So I think Adam definitely has a leg to stand on in that tribe compared to like someone who's completely social. I will say this cruise tribe is fucking wild, man.
The Cruise Tribe, I mean, they're my faves already. Like,
They're wild.
they're weird. I love that.
Yeah, I was about to say, because I was watching their chat, especially when Ollie was like, you can talk in here, and then they started blowing it up. So I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, I get somebody that only plays like once every couple years and is very picky is actually a really good thing. And you should take a compliment for that, because whew, that's nice. But yeah, I got a good vibe from him as well.
As a person who don't really know Adam, and if I am playing with him, it will be a hit or a miss. Because like you might gonna misinterpret his silence. We might gonna misinterpret how he straightforward gonna talk games and not, sugarcoat it with some how are you doing and whatsoever. Because like this will always be a social game also, and not only a strategic game. But then just like what Brandon said, it's just a very good timing for him to be in the cruise, because there are a lot of people who wanted to really talk game right away. I'm not mentioning Lex, but that's how Lex played. So I am really intrigued if Adam and Lex will gonna work on this one really well, because that's how I see it right now.
I also don't know Adam, but from what you guys were saying, it seems like because you have to have a mix, like a balance of game and personal. So if it's all just game, like, hey, how are you feeling? Or like trying to get information, stuff like that, it can rub people the wrong way and make them not want to like talk to him as much. So like he does seem fun. He seems like a party animal. We'll love for him to stay around for as much as possible, but it really just comes down to if he's vibing with people and if he doesn't just try to talk game the whole time.
Okay, yeah, there's something that kind of, and again, this might not even be a concern, but maybe for other people. Again, like I don't know Adam, but like his occupation as a software engineer. Sometimes like for some players, like people are really gonna try to find reasons to target you. Any information that they can use against you, they will use it against you. Um, Software engineer, I think if there are going to be people who are going to be, let's say, use that information and say, oh, he's an engineer, like he's very smart, he's probably very strategic and stuff like that, that can be grounds for for you to be targeted. And again, it's usually not the case and when you're playing orgs, but I've seen it in other games where people use your background or your career as reason to target you. And so that's where I kind of have like a little bit of reservation towards Adam, but I honestly don't think it's going to be the case here.
As a software engineer, I feel very attacked. Next up is the mother, the icon, Chris-Anne. Y'all.
Yeah,
I don't know Chris-Anne. I'm gonna leave it to you guys. I don't know Chris-Anne. I don't know anybody.
I mean, I can start off. Like, I love Chris-Anne. It's always nice to have a fellow Ontarian over here to represent the season. I've viewed Chris-Anne when Chris-Anne played the Hive. That's one interesting thing too, because Chris-Anne and Ricky did play on the same Hive season. So we are going to be seeing that like mini reunion. I'm very curious and intrigued to see how that plays out, if they're going to be working together again, or like if they're going to be targeting each other just because like they've seen each other play already. But yeah, like at least like from when I viewed Chris-Anne's game on the Hive, it was kind of like cut short. So I'm very intrigued and curious to see how well she's gonna do in for this one.
I think she's got the potential to do well. I also played with her on CTC. It was also cut short. However, I've seen her do much better than that. So I think it just depends on the game and her situation, but she definitely has the potential to do really well. And that's just from what I know of her. I know Esteban knows her as
I
well
was
from
confused, to be honest. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Amethyst, right?
Yeah, I was so confused because like when we played in Amethyst, he caught me and he outlasted me because like she sells me out actually. We are an ally and then she sells me out just to vote me out when I got exiled on a game. That's why like I feel like Chris-Anne is really lovable, but then she is also so smart. I can see like how what Haley is looking for, a balance of social and strategic. I can see that with Chris-Anne. If no one knew her that much of how she played the game actually, or people has a little, just a little bit of how she played the game, I can see that Chris-Anne would definitely can go last on this game. But now I'm so confused because like Chris and Kat is saying the opposite of how she played with me. So I am so conflicted right now.
Well, I think it was personal circumstances in the case of CTC when I played with her, which is the reason why it was cut short for her. But I have also seen her do really well. So there's two different sides to her.
I don't know her at all, but she seems very well liked.
I think Chris-Anne was someone who I think once the applications rolled in, and I would say that when we were starting to pick out the cast, I think she was one of the very first we like locked in. I'm very excited to see Chris-Anne play. I know the woman can do damage. I very much know that she has the skills that it takes to win this game. I didn't draft her, but I know like if anyone can like pull off like the streak of recent winners that we've seen in like Payne and Brian and like the whole strategic mastermind stuff, I think Chris-Anne can do it. Next up we have Danny.
Yeah, I mean, I literally just finished playing a game with Danny in 1984. We were literally on starting tribes together. I was part of their blind side and all that. All I'm gonna say is Danny is a social player. Danny really is a social player. I think like, when you hop on like, let's say, tribe calls, group calls, stuff like that, they would be the ones who would be the life of those calls. They would be the ones who would be talking a lot, make you laugh, very personable, very charismatic. Yeah, they're really more of like a social player, strategic in a sense too. And so I think like the challenge here for Danny, at least like with my experience playing with them, is like trying to really like be more aware of the game and like trying to just like see like, okay, who's aligned with who. Because I think like they're the type of person to just be very loyal to the people that they work with, and then they're kind of like very tunnel vision towards that. And when you're playing a game like this, you have to be open to like working with other people, talking to other people, and maybe potentially aligning yourselves with other people and not just necessarily with your own alliance. And I think that's what kind of got them in 1984. But then like again, like Danny's a really social player and very charismatic, and again, it's also like this the way in which like people are going to gravitate towards them as well. But that's just like my concern. It's just that I think like once they find their people from the get-go, they're just going to stick with that to the end, and you have to be adaptable, you have to be flexible in this game. And I think that's the concern that I have with them.
I'll just ditto everything you said, because the one experience I had from Danny was watching her play 1984, and obviously I wasn't in the game like you were. But I was kind of just watching for style lines. I'm personally very excited to see Danny play. For me, it's very much a coin flip of how she does. Say that. Were you gonna say something, Megan?
Oh, I just said they.
Oh, they. Sorry.
Yeah, I haven't made the pronouns list yet. Actually, I literally just reminded myself that I need to make it and put it so the cast can look at them all at once.
We will have a
I don't know how to
pronoun.
click pronoun roles in Discord.
Yeah.
Danny, I'm not sure about either. Danny's personality is very interesting. I have loved their commentary and their prod chat so far this since reveal. They've been really sassy about a lot of things in their prod chat. So I'm kind of living for the vibes for the confessionals we're probably gonna get. But I have no idea how Danny plays, so we'll see. I feel like again, it could just go either really good or really bad. I don't know these people, and I feel like all of them could impress me or like surprisingly go out early. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's just like one more point. It's a good thing you brought that up, Megan. I just remember something when during 1984 there was like an instance because there was like Exile Island there, and then Danny and somebody else was calling out one of the people from the other tribe. So Danny is a very feisty person. Obviously, it's always good for the rating. It's always good for for the drama and all of that. But again, that's a double-edged sword. Like people either live for it or it's gonna rub people the wrong way. And so that's something that I feel like people need to watch out for when when assessing Danny.
All right. I believe the next player we have up on the docket is Esme.
That one's my favorite, or one of my favorites. I can't remember if I remember to draft them or not, but of all the videos, I really liked the energy and the vibe from Esme for sure. Seems like they'll be a good social player. Also really funny. So I think they'll make a lot of people laugh. Because they definitely made me laugh in their video. It's the funniest video I watched, probably.
No, yeah, Esme is everything. I mean, they're on my draft pick too. There were so many good people. Like I wanted to like draft pick Chris Ann and Adam as well, but didn't get a chance. I wasn't able to. But Esme is on my draft, and they seem very likable, very chaotic, very funny, and I was like, oh my gosh, like and strategic. Like I could see the strategy behind how they were like I see them making it far. I can see them going very far, and so they seem very exciting. So I'm just like living for them, to be honest. I do have to go actually, so I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm gonna head out now, y'all. But it was really nice being on the call. Um, yes, so it was really good being on here, and yeah, Esme seems really just awesome overall in general, to be honest. So yeah,
Michael, nice meeting you.
bye. Nice meeting you too. Bye.
I wasn't very aware of Esme before this cast. Honestly, a lot of this cast I wasn't really aware of. So watching their interviews from like firsthand kind of brought this up. I actually very much do like Esme's vibe. I think from looking at their communications with people from their tribe, I feel like Esme already, I think, has the potential to be in a very good spot on their tribe. Very much so. Like
People love her
extremely
already. She's active on the tribe call and saying things. People are complimenting Esme. I'm sorry, I just had to jump in because I love her energy already. They love Esme already. So Esme is definitely gonna be in a good spot on their tribe. That's my thoughts.
Oh, check the
Oh
project.
God, are they fucking asking me shit already?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it.
Okay, thank you.
I love y'all are starting off hot.
But I was going to say what was I gonna say? I don't know what I was gonna say. I'm very excited to see how Esme does in this game because again, I'm not very aware of them. I think they have the potential to do very well. They even from the night one call, I think they're very integrated. I'd be shocked if things turned against them. I think they have the potential to go really far, and I'm curious to see how much damage they will eventually do. Estefan, did you say something or no?
No, I want to say something. I see one concern though, because somebody, I don't want to name, but somebody clocked Esme already that he is a good player, but he is a red flag when it comes to be an ally because he can flip flop. So that's a concern on their game. Oh.
Yeah. I think someone did mention that Esme is someone who, while they can be a very strategic player, is also someone who can, on the flip of a dime. And especially in this game with this cast, I'm very curious to see if they do go that route. And if they do go that route, how are people will handle that? Because I think there's a certain amount of flip-flopping that a cast can handle until they say, nope, out.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that it's like, I mean, I do kind of play similarly to that, where it's like, it's just a matter of like snakes sensing other snakes. Snakes can sense other snakes in the game, and so it's just a matter of like maybe Esme can just get those other people before they get them, and so maybe there's a chance, like even if they play similarly, that they're just like socially aware enough of those things that they can just like, hey, well, you're clocking me, let me get you out first before you get me out. So we'll see.
Yeah. Next up we have Hyrie, which I think is the first person we've ever cast from Singapore.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I believe that's true.
Hyrie is an interesting one. Okay, so I played a mini traders game with Hyrie, and Hyrie very social, but also very, very smart because in that game, I think Hyrie knew who to talk to and who not to talk to, probably. I think it's the best way to put it. Very likable though, like could get along with anybody, but also could definitely go behind people's back and plan some shit. So if he plays anything like he did in that game, yeah, I think he's gonna be a force. Maybe
I'm
I don't
definitely
know.
interested.
Yeah.
I'm definitely interested to see him play. I don't know him at all, but just from like the video impression, I feel like he is somebody that knows the perfect timing for things. I feel like he might be able to get people out before they look at him. And I just feel like if he isn't super out there, he could probably play like a really good under the radar middle type of game. And be very strategic as well. So I definitely am excited to see him play. That's for sure.
Yeah, I played with Hyrie twice. And though I love Hyrie as a person, we just never meet, I mean, together in the game because like it possibly because we almost have the same kind of game that we gonna, please you, be socialized with you, but we can able to, cut you off if we don't need you anymore. That's how Hyrie played the game. So this is so interesting, especially with the people who have a lot of very good in sensing that kind of game. I can see Esme and him either play along together or will be cutting their heads off right away. So it's either play or nay for for the both of them. I don't know. That will be fun.
I was gonna say Hyrie did remind me of you, Esteban, when I met Hyrie in that game because I was like, oh my gosh, this got Esteban all over him.
Hyrie's awesome. Hyrie is very social. Even in a different time zone, Hyrie is one of the best people I've seen to keep up with time zone differences. I played a game with Hyrie when I first met him, and I loved him, and I idled him out with a really OP fucking idol that turned all of his side's votes against him. So it was literally like a fucking 8-0 vote. Too OP. Hyrie does tend to get out there at one point, and he gets like mid-merge boot a lot from what I've seen from him. When he gets to the merge, he gets out in mid-merge because people are scared of him because he's so friendly and not afraid to speak his mind. But Hyrie is currently on the very first one-on-one VC of the entire season. And it was so nice because both Hyrie and Esme, they're the ones on VC, asked me if I could make one for them, which is adorable because we don't want people VCing in DMs. But yes, so Hyrie and Esme doing that social game already.
All right, next up we have Lex.
Jeremy's
My
coming. Jeremy's coming.
Jeremy has thoughts.
Lex,
My
it's
gosh.
time for Lex. I told him, I said, do you want to do the cast assessment? He said, I don't know anybody but Lex. I'll come in for him.
I know Lex.
It's time for Lex. Share your thoughts.
Chris probably knows Lex better than I know Lex, to be honest.
Probably.
I'll let you go
Chris knows
first. I'll
everyone.
let you go first.
Lex is a very good player, and a crackhead. Absolutely.
Oh my god.
I think he might be one of the few players that, because he's in another game right now, that will help him here, because he won't do as much and get himself into trouble.
Oh, he's already doing so much. He's already doing so much.
But I mean, overall, he's good. I mean, he's not perfect strategically, but he just makes up for it in sheer effort.
Yeah.
And I mean, how do I put this? He gets in with people that you don't expect him to get in with. And he seems to piss off the rest of.
What did you guys
people,
say
but that's
earlier
okay.
about Adam? Yeah, Lex like messaged Adam and said like, I know we're vibing already. So you guys called that out. I mean, Lex is already gonna love Adam.
Adam in this game.
Yeah, Adam in this game. I concur with Jeremy. Lex is a fucking crackhead. When we said earlier Ray was one of the most excited, it is Lex.
It is Lex.
Lex submitted his cast materials like an hour after he got his invite. He's been messaging his prod chat every single day. He's very excited. And he's still doing too much, even though he's playing power grab. So we'll see how Lex does. Lex again could be an early boot just because he's nuts, or he could make it really far. I don't know.
It's the card of chaos, something I am very well aware of. Usually my chaos ends up making me go far, but with Lex, I feel like with this tribe being so full of backstabbers and chaos, I feel like Lex can actually position himself pretty well. But chaos is as chaos does, and Lex is chaos.
Yeah, I feel like he talks a lot. I don't know, I get that vibe. Just from seeing him from like Power Grab, he's always like saying all this stuff, even answering the questions and shit whenever they ask him questions for the ECs. He's like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he knows, like, he seems very smart but also crazy, and it's like you're either gonna like him or you're gonna be like, get him the fuck out.
Yeah, I watched him play in Vanquish a little bit. He also just recently finished Vanquish, and the way he was being it was cute. Like, I think he is strategic, and that one was a short-term game versus a long-term game. It's very different. You know, he had to play a little bit harder in that game probably than he would in the longer game. But I think he made jury, if I'm not mistaken, in Vanquish. I would have to go back and back check that, but he was very fun to watch on Vanquish. So if he's fun to watch on Vanquish, he should be fun to watch on here.
I think he's definitely gonna be a prod favorite in terms of the entertainment. How he does in the game is pretty much up to how much he can control the crazy. If he can control the crazy, I see him going very far. If he can't, he can also go very far. But again, crazy is as crazy does. Next up, we have Madeline.
Oh, wait. I haven't
You
even
haven't
tried.
said anything yet. Lex
Oh,
is our man.
Esteban, you go first. I'll be last because like I'm his ultimate best friend.
Lex
So
is my final two. Chris and I and Lex played along with Power Grab, and we have the best trio ever. But yeah, you are really you're really true. Lex talks so much, and at the same time, Lex is very strategic. I mean, he will definitely gonna let you feel that you are part of his plan most of the time, even though that you are not part of the plan at all. And yeah, Lex can be also a very good shield to someone just who's playing just like me, like probably Hyrie and also like with Esme. And then this tribal dynamics right now, I feel like Brandon is really, right on this. He could definitely can balance things out with these people, especially if Adam wants to really talk game right away. Definitely could really manage to have the balance of all of this. But besides that, Chris can tell everything about Lex.
I mean, like I'm probably not gonna repeat the same things that you guys have already said. Um, I think it's more so, he's really craving for redemption. I think that's like the bottom line. That's kind of I'm honestly surprised to see him play this one because I thought like him already playing like All Stars was already like okay, like that's already like enough Lex content for me. But obviously, like we can never get enough of like Lex. Suddenly we see him on Triumph where it's like, oh, okay, interesting. I do want to note something though. Again, Keisha and Lex have played Perception before. Curious to see how that's gonna turn out. Lex recognizes and knows a lot of the people here on his cast. Not necessarily that they played together, but like he recognizes them just because, like, like some of these people, he knows because I've played with them. For my own fantasy, like I'm hoping for a Carson Lex duo there. There's also another one again, like Kat, you just pretty much mentioned it. He was just fresh out of playing Vanquish with somebody on the cast as well that we're going to be talking about shortly as well. So I'm curious to see how that's going to turn out. And then, yeah, like again, craving redemption and all of that. I mean, Esteban, you did kind of whoop his ass there at FTC. So there's a lot of like processing and learning on his end. And I think like from the way that he's viewed your game, my games, and all that. He's really trying to pick up on all of those things and trying to make sure that, hey, I know I'm Big Lex. Use me as a shield. I can be crazy. I can be chaotic. I can talk too much. But hey, let me try to like zhuzh up like my whole strategic side now and see if I can play like Esteban, if I can play like Chris, if I can play with these other people who pretty much voted me out in my previous games. So I'm curious to see if he's gonna learn from his mistakes or we're just gonna see history repeat itself. I love you, Lex, but we shall see.
I will also say, in defense of Lex, with that Final Trouble Council, he did good. He was just up against one of the greatest Final Trouble Council performances I think Triumph or like specifically Megan had ever seen. And honestly, Esteban, that's what got you on All Stars. That Final Trouble Council performance was a lock-in for us. But I wouldn't discredit Lex because no matter what, he is still a very great player. Again, his downfall and anguish is going up against this fucking bitch right here. Him. That's his fault. Next up, before I really interrupt you both, we have Madeline.
Slay Queen.
Mother icon.
She's gonna be a fucking mess. Like, she's gonna be sassy. Yeah. She's already been bitching about how the tribe call was so dry. It was. She has like, when you hear her voice, if you haven't seen her video, she sounds like the sweetest girl ever. And in her interview, she's like, I'm fucking not. Like, she said, I've never seen her play, but if she plays like she talked in her interview, she's gonna be cutthroat. She's gonna be a bitch. She's gonna be a shady little fucking rat. And I love it. I can't wait to see it, and I drafted her for that reason. Because I really just hope she lives up to what she said in her interview. And she's from Maryland. And she goes to UMD, and she played Survivor Maryland, whatever. But I love a Marylander. So
I knew there was a reason why I put her on my draft too. That's a queen. Love it. Oh my
Gonna slay,
god.
no matter what like placement she gets, she's gonna be entertaining.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
I was so
if-
shocked. I thought like Madeline, oh, she's gonna be the sweet one. And then when we have the trot, when the chat is like, oh my gosh, she's so freaking queen mean.
Well,
I
what's
think
interesting.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go. You started first.
I know. I was just gonna say, like, if that's how Madeline is, I mean, like, I cannot wait for the Lex versus Madeline rivalry. So
I wouldn't
no,
be shocked. I could see that happening. I wouldn't be shocked.
I will say, if this tribe loses, the amount of conflict that not would happen, is going to happen, is amazing and like a wet dream.
I get. Oh gosh. No, what's funny about Madeline is she actually applied for my game too, but I couldn't get her on Facebook. But from her application, she sounded incredible to me. So it's kind of neat seeing her here. Maybe I can connect with her after the season's over and be like, hey, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna steal your people, all your people, maybe some. But no, she seems like she's gonna be a great player, and I got that vibe just from her application that she turned in for me. So I can only imagine what she's like in an interview. She looks like she's gonna be interesting.
If she is active and she's as cutthroat as she says she's going to be, and with their tribe and with this cast, it's gonna be a fucking show. And I'm all here for it. Does anyone else want to say anything? Because I don't want to interrupt anyone again.
I think that's Mother.
Mother. All right, next up, love you, Rachel, but you're the chaos cast of this. Rachel McKenna.
I would
mean,
like to speak first, or you can. Okay, I know her really well.
Oh, goddamn minute.
Um,
Did you just skip somebody, Brandon? Hello?
Rachel's
Oh.
next.
No, she's fucking not. No, she's fucking not. We're not doing this.
No, you're skipping people, T.
Later, he'll be the last.
This is being skipped for a very specific reason. Do you want me to go back?
No, go
Fine,
ahead.
we can wait.
Okay, well, do Mark next. Rachel McKenna.
Okay, so she's a huge
scares
reason.
me.
She's the reason why I even got into orgs. I know her very well. She's over the top. You either really like her or you don't like her at all. She's very out there. She will make her presence known. She has no filter. I've seen her play Perception. I've seen her play Duplicity. I've seen her play Cutthroat. I've seen her play. I played Ascendant's Org with her. She let me get blamed for having a fucking power that she had the whole time. Anyway, she is very social. She can play very well, or she'll get out fairly early. It's really whatever happens. I can see her doing really well if she connects with people and clicks with people right away and does a lot of calls with them. But I don't know. I really hope she does well. I know she's crazy, she's chaotic, she will be messy as fuck, she'll tell you how it is. And she doesn't give a fuck.
I will say I love Rachel to death. I love Rachel to death. And I feel like Lex being on this tribe with Rachel, especially after those two played a goddamn mini together with actual Survivor players, is going to be the boon that she needs. But my god, I am terrified for her in this game, mostly just because of this tribe. I have no idea what's going to happen with Rachel. I'm just so happy to see that she applies for this game.
yeah, it's it's like a question mark, just because like not because like nobody knows about like Rachel, but it's more so like it can go any direction. Yeah, Brandon, you just like mentioned that she was just fresh out of playing a mini with Lex. Maybe that's something that they can lean into. I imagine Rachel just like using Lex as some sort of shield here. Hoping for a duo, for a Rachel Madeline duo over here. but then like again, like I was also fresh out of like playing Cutthroat with Rachel, and we were on the same page together. She was part of like one of the biggest like early moves of Cutthroat. I can see her doing the same thing here. She's very strategic, very social, very, very good at challenges too. What I'm kind of concerned with is maybe in terms of like the activity level, hoping that she would be more engaged and like on top of things here, because I think that was like one of the things that that was kind of like her concern, or like her, that was kind of like one of the reasons why she got booted in Cutthroat, was because like she wasn't as active with other people, and that can certainly bite her in the ass if she doesn't pick it up from the get-go, especially with people like Lex, people like Carson. There's a lot of social butterflies here who are really putting in the effort to hop on calls, to talk to people, and if she doesn't keep up from the get-go, she's gonna be way behind, and that's probably going to be one of the reasons why she's going to get booted here.
But anyways, there's a lot. I mean, one of the talk of the town is her eating grass, and they wanna know her more about that. So that's the only positive thing that I can see right now for Rachel. So, oh,
I don't think if Rachel's active, she will not have any issues talking to people in this tribe. It's simply a nature of when the bomb goes off. When does it go off? And will it go off? It will go off. But when? And I love you to death, Rachel. If you see this back, queen, icon, love you, mother, bomb.
I'm gonna say that that video of hers was another one of my favorites, eating the grass. And I know several people in the viewers zone commented on it too, but I think she's a lot of fun. She could be a lot of fun. She kind of reminds me a little bit of somebody that I played with who is an ultra social player, but also like wanting to do a lot. So we'll see how she does here, but I'm excited to watch her.
Anyways, you want to talk about Mark now?
Yes.
Mark.
Wait, but my boyfriend's still in the room.
So why'd you skip him?
Megan, would
He
you like
doesn't
to
want to hear me talk about Mark.
Oh,
Yeah, what just say Mark was a very late application that we got in, and the second that interview was done, he was on the cast.
The second the interview started, he was on the cast. He is so full of himself. He doesn't give a fuck. Like, he's a huge stoner. I don't know if y'all saw his intro video. It was literally just nothing but him smoking weed, and then he said, "Please don't vote me out." I'm obsessed with him, but that's because he's hot. And I love him. And he has tattoos and smokes weed.
After this protein attempted to flirt with him, it's true.
I was literally on the cruise BC earlier, and I wasn't even listening to what they were saying. I was just staring at Mark the whole time. So I'm obsessed with him, and Esteban and I are going to be fighting for his love.
did you put him on your draft?
I did. I don't know how well he's
tell.
gonna play, but I put him on my draft because he's hot. But I don't know how long he's gonna last. Like, they're either gonna love him for being an asshole, or he's gonna like piss somebody off. Like, we have some things where they could take points off for their scavenger hunt challenge for challenge 1, and everyone in host chat was immediately like, Mark would be the person to take the things that would subtract points from the tribe. Like, he's just gonna be, he doesn't care, he'll just do anything. But I love him. And I just remembered he's gonna see this postseason, so that's awkward.
Oh god damn it,
What is this,
Esteban.
Esteban?
I don't
Like-
know, but I can give all my money to Mark right now.
I was gonna say, like, so like when you say subtract points off, like we had to do on Canavar when I like freaking did that shit. Is this the same thing?
Like, they could take like a like, one of the things is they can be automatically the first person from their tribe to go to Darwin Island, which is the twist of the season. We'll post a night one call. Basically exile, and so they can subtract points from their tribe score to guarantee that they're the first one to go, regardless of what the vote is. So,
Well, I don't know how Chris Stoner played the Triumph, but I can see a Chris Stoner on him. Swear.
Oh,
I mean,
Oh yeah, except Chris
But-
Stoner is not a cocky asshole. Chris Stoner like seems like he'd be cocky, but he's not. But Mark is actually cocky. Like he left the server today because I don't even know what he said, but he got pissed off and he said, "I'll quit the game." And I said, "I dare you," and he left the server. So I mean, he's just a dick, but in the fun way.
He is someone who very much commits to the bit, and I'm all here for it. You mentioned the comparison to Chris Stoner, and I see that. Again, I very much know Chris Stoner. I feel like I'm the one consistent person that's able to take that fucker out. Well, be Chris if you see this. But Mark is someone who I see, honestly, if I have a prediction for where he might go, I see him going on a swap. I see him maybe getting entrenched in this new tribe, swapping, and his personality is going to rub someone in the opposite tribe the wrong way. And God forbid the tribe numbers are against him, gone. I see that potentially happening. That honestly, I see him most likely going in a swap. But if he goes far, oh God, have mercy. Oh God, have mercy.
yeah, he was another one that I watched his video and I freaking loved it. Like the whole smoking the entire time and then saying at the end, "Please don't vote me out." I mean, that's iconic. He does kind of give me Stoner vibes, but also he's not, like Megan was saying, he's not. Stoner's definitely not cocky, and if this guy is cocky, yeah, that would be the only difference. But
I just don't care if you get voted or not, but I'm gonna fight Megan with this one. Yeah, but the funny thing is, he's not. What's that again? The antique owner or something?
Oh yeah, that's not his job. He changed his job title. I don't know why. But he said he wanted his job title in the game to be antique shop owner. So that's what we put in his caster reel. That's not what he is. I don't even remember what he does. He knows nothing about antique shops. So I think
So
he's
people can lie about their ages and like orgs
Yep.
and stuff.
Well, not the
I mean,
ages.
Not your
but the-
ages, I meant your jobs.
Yep.
Yeah, if they want to. I mean, we'll put that job in. He literally went the other day. He was like, I need to find pictures of an antique shop to show people the shop that I own. And he like went and got pictures of a fucking shop.
And now that it is a what do you call this, a scavenger hunt, I don't know how he can, you know, think
Oh, I didn't even think about
Right?
that.
I don't know if he will do good on this one, lying about being an antique shop owner. But anyways, he's fun to be with. Oh, sorry, with.
Yeah. I think that leads us to our final person of the 20-person cast we have. All the way from the Philippines, we have Ricky.
I mean, again, like it's always nice to see.
You're biased, Chris.
You're Filipino too, okay? I have seen him play the Hive. I think that was like the last org, as far as I know, that he played, or at least like the one that I last saw him play, the Hive. He didn't really have like a much longer run there, although that he has a knack for Survivor games. Like obviously he's a huge fan of the show. He is more so perceived or like likes to play this whole hero slash loyal type where, you know, he might just become an Esteban in the making, where it's like, ooh, this guy is very nice. He's a hero kind of thing. But then next thing you know, this person could just like snake you, and then turns out he's actually a villain in disguise kind of thing. I'm just excited to see Ricky play again. Again, like I was a huge fan of him when he played the Hive, and so I'm excited to see more of Ricky here. Again, like this whole time zone difference thing, I think that's already like a challenge in itself, and that's where we will see if he's gonna be committed enough to like, because he is playing with people who love to hop on calls. Hello, Lex. And so we'll see how that plays out, because how he's gonna manage this whole like time difference. And I think he's like going back to school right now, as far as I know. So that's also kind of that's where I'm a bit concerned with his activity level and how he's gonna be able to manage that. But yeah, I'm excited to see him play again.
Yeah, this is the reason why I have a biased, love on Triumph, because of the diversity that we have on the cast. And seeing another Filipino on the game is really like, yes, we have it again. So yeah, the concern is the time schedule, but then seeing Hyrie and him on one tribe, that might be a very good, edge for the both of them too. And yeah, I guess probably Lex and Chrisan, because they played with, another Filipino before, they might gonna use, that advantage and will dig to be aligned with Ricky. That is my perception right now outside the box. Maybe Lex will use Ricky, or will play and work with Ricky, and also Chris Ann will work with Ricky again. So hopefully.
I didn't know much about Ricky before this season. I honestly am kind of impressed I didn't know that many people for this season. But I am very excited to see Ricky play. I know obviously that honestly, I feel like Ricky's one of the more quiet ones on this tribe. I think that would also kind of work to his advantage with as many big personalities as there are on the Cruise tribe. I feel like him being more of a low-key personality is actually going to help him a lot here. I don't know what else to say. I think he could do well.
I feel
I
the
mean,
same way.
that's
I
a
think
good thing too. A hero will be only a hero with all the people that is villain. That will be good.
Yeah, I need to stress once again, this Cruise tribe is fucking wild.
yeah, since you said that that tribe is like very chaotic, I feel like someone like him can really blend in and like let people go after each other's necks and everything. So I think that could be something if people aren't paying attention to him and paying attention to other people, and him having targets ahead of him every single round, he could probably get far in the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Like, I kind of get that vibe from Ricky as well. Like, if everybody else is a bigger personality and you can just kind of fly under the radar, maybe he's got a really good shot. So we'll see.
I want to add, Ricky's definitely going to be one of the smaller personalities of this cast, like not as out there and big. But I'm already happily surprised by Ricky. He's been pretty active in DMs with people so far in the one-on-ones, and like he seems to be giving off good vibes. I feel like people are liking him so far. So I think Ricky could be one to watch out for that people might not expect. So I'm excited to see him play.
Exactly, and I think we've covered all 20 people now. I think in terms of what's going to happen, especially going forward, I will say for Triumph, we don't cast anybody to specifically be first boots or like the early outs. I think we cast players who we all see can genuinely have the chance to do very well in these games. There's one tribe who's a lot more chaotic than the other, I'll just say that. And obviously, I know it's only night one, but I'm very interested to see how far ahead some of these tribes can pull in the scavenger hunt, especially because they have until Friday to do the tasks. And do people go for disadvantages? Do people know what the disadvantages are? What happened on Darwood Island, and who eventually does become the first boot of this season? Only time will tell.
I think like in our case for disadvantages, I mean, it worked out for Canavar, so it could very well work out for a tribe that chooses that to get the points. I mean, it was the only challenge we won on Canavar, so I mean, you never know.
Since it is a lot of chaotic energy, like it's going to be interesting to see who the first boot is if that tribe does go to tribal. Like it's going to be very entertaining for us, and I'm glad that we're not playing.
And you will suit two different personas in this kind of challenge. One who wanted to do everything, and one is the one that cannot do anything at all. So that will be fun to think who are these people.
Exactly. I think that's all for us, unless someone has anything else they want to add. Megan?
No, I don't think so. This season is one of those where like I can't really pinpoint exactly who's gonna do super well and who's not. It could be because I don't know much of the cast well in terms of gameplay. Or it could mean that anyone could be great and finish far, anyone could accidentally go early. So I guess time will tell.
I think the beauty about this cast is that there's a lot of different personalities. There's a lot of people who are out in front. There's a lot of people who are kind of in the back. And there are so many different ways that this game can go that honestly, there's I think a couple people maybe I think people are expecting to go very far, but even those people can end up going out early on like the worst case scenario. Honestly, I see this cast and the concoction that we made as something extremely volatile, which I think is going to make for a very interesting season. Also, we casted a hot cast. Need to just say that.
Yeah, echoing on that, like I think like this cast is pretty stacked, and there's like a lot of like personalities over here. Again, it's literally anybody's game. Like we may have like our own kind of like maybe this is like our assumption or prediction, but it's anybody's game at this point. Anything can happen at any point where it's like, oh, I thought this person made it far, but then like something happens along the way, and then like, oh. And so I'm very excited. I mean, you guys did a very amazing job at like coming up with this like, very amazing cast, and I cannot wait to see how this turns out.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for participating. I'm gonna get back to trying to figure out how to set up the fucking Starboard bot. So if you're a Discord person and know how to set it up, help me. And yeah,
I was about to say, tag Jack, he can help you.
he said he didn't know how to do it, and I thought it was
Courtney?
easy and I figured it out, but I didn't actually figure it out. So we'll see.
What about Courtney?
Anyway, thank you guys. I will be posting this on YouTube and putting it in the VL cast assessment so other VL members can see what we thought. And if they don't agree with their opinions, then fuck them. They should have been here.
They should have been here.
Period. Thank you for having us.
Agree.